Go.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello teachers and students. I'm here to present for you our project made by 9B students and me. It talks about Vikings. Vikings are a great topic. We can't include it in 10 minutes, but we tried our best to include it in 10 minutes. And here is Abdurrahman, who will talk about Vikings.
Who are the Vikings? The Vikings were German sailors speaking the Old Norse language that traded for their Scandinavian homeland across wide areas of the northern and central Europe during the Viking Age. What is the Viking Age? In European history, the Viking Age is the period between 793 and 1066. When was the Vikings' first appearance? The earliest date given for a Viking raid is 789 according to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. The beginning of the Viking Age in the British Isles is, however, often given as 793. Thank you. I'll leave you with Thomas.
Scandinavia is a peninsula located here in the northern eastern of Europe. Before the Vikings, it was a land of tribes of Scandinavian people who spoke the Old Norse language. It is now divided into 5 countries: Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. And outside the peninsula are also a place for Scandinavian people to live in, Iceland and Finland. And in the absence of better, I'll talk about the weapons used by Vikings. Vikings used a variety of weapons. Vikings used a variety of weapons, but they excelled in using axes. Axes are a weapon used only by Vikings in Europe at their time, in the medieval Europe. They also specialized in the Dane axe, which was used only as a weapon and not as a tool, unlike other axes that were used by Vikings. Now we'll talk about the Viking armor. The Viking armor is made out of 3 parts: the helmet, the mail, and the lamellar. The mail is the shirt used by Vikings to cover their chest and mid part of the body. And the lamellar is a series of plates surrounding the body to prevent the body from fabric.
Assalamu alaikum. Although the Vikings were great, but they also had strength and weakness points. For the strength points, they were builders. They were great shipbuilders, and they used their special built ships to conquer Europe. And also, they had a lot of weakness points. When using the Dane axe, they used it with 2 hands, and that made them be exposed for ranged attacks. And for the armor, they had a great built armor that made them unstoppable and unbeatable in battleships. And also, the death of their king made them lose a lot of fights, and they didn't have like great tactics. Thank you. And I will leave you with Faisal Tuadri.
Now we'll talk about some of the misconceptions about the Vikings. They were horned helmets. They came from one nation. The women had no right, and they were great hulking beasts of men. Thank you.
Can we talk about the early Viking raids? At the end of the 8th century, by the end of the 8th century, Norse raiders sacked a series of Christian monasteries located at the British Isles. The raids were at Lindisfarne. Lindisfarne was an island of England's eastern coast. What have they accomplished between 793 AD and in 850 AD? By the end of this period, in 850 AD, the Vikings had several remarkable raids they could write in their own history, such as Jarrow and Wearmouth in 794 AD, and at Orkney Island of Scotland at Lona in 795 AD. These raids were especially for money.
After the early Viking raids, there was the settlement in the British Isles. The raids they raid before the British Isles, they only raid for money. They didn't raid for lands and conquer. They only raid for money to get and make weapons. They settled. By the end of the 9th century, they settled in the places clearly shown in red and in yellow and in brown. They also involved Iceland in the Scandinavian peninsula, which was a place where they lived before they discovered the ice. I want to clear 3 points about the end of the Vikings. Where they, who ended them, and where did it end, and what led to the end of the Vikings. The Viking end is a major event that happened in medieval Europe. They were ended by an army ruled by King Harold Godwinson, an English army which had the advantage against the Vikings in their lands, in Stamford Bridge village, located in Dinurussia, which was a land of a 1st to the 4th century, ruled by Romans. The death of King Harald Hardrada was the event that made the Viking lose. King Harald Hardrada was the ruler of the Viking in the army. When he was dead, the Vikings stood against the English army, not knowing what to do. To add on my 3 points, King Harald Hardrada was named the last Viking because his death caused the Viking end. Thank you.
Step down, please. Are you afraid? Okay. Very lively theme, okay? You asked me whether you can read, Brian. Of course you can, but read and look. Don't just keep on reading, okay? Use the read and look up technique, okay? As they used to get the news a long time ago. Check, and then you look at the audience. Check and look at the audience. All of you need to slow down. Start with an introduction for at least one sentence before talking about the weapons, okay? Vikings were tough warriors. By saying Vikings were tough warriors, this will present or prepare us for the speech about the weaponry, okay, and the arsenal. Instead of saying they had their strengths and weaknesses, it's better to say they had their ups and downs, pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages. I'll provide them to you later on. Mugayyil, you were perfect, whereas Mugayyil, tamam, but smile, okay? instead of saying they did it for money, it's better to say for robbery and plundering. Nahb. Nahb. Yinhab. Okay? For robbery and plundering. Who put an end to their existence is better than, what did you say? Who ended them? Okay? Who put an end to their existence? You need to rehearse more, all of you. And when you say when he was dead, it's better to say after he died or because of his death rather than when he was dead. Okay? All in all, it's obvious that you have exerted a lot of effort. We salute you for that. Keep rehearsing, keep practicing. You were wonderful, Ahmed, also. Okay? So keep practicing, all of you. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Thank you very much. Yes.
Always don't use dark colors on top of each other. Either dark background with light font or dark font with light background. We couldn't read anything. No. That's it.
Thank you.